Welcome to my video review for CloudyPro 2. Note this is going to be version 1.1 that we're talking about today. 1.1 should be coming out soon if it hasn't come out by the time this video is uploaded. Be patient, don't ask where you can get it, don't ask how I got it. Just understand that I've been trying to test and help get this ready so it can get out to you. And because the experience is very positive, I'm not going to report anything that has been fixed from the previous version. So I am going to talk about 1.1 and not about 1.0, knowing that once 1.1 comes out, nobody's going to be installing 1.0. So the review for 1.0 won't matter. Alright. This is Android 4.4.2. Let me start with the fact that there are no kernels. Did not test any custom kernels. I shouldn't say there are no kernels. There's a kernel, of course. There's the kernel that comes with 3.4.0. But there are no custom kernels currently, at least none that I would try, unless you want to go into a boot loop. And you know, if that's your preference, hey, go for it. Me personally, I'm just not going to mess with it. We're going to talk about quite a few things, so I'm going to try and make this quick. First of all, why do you want to use this ROM? Well, you like the Optimus UI, which is LG's UI. You want the 4K recording in the camera, you want the 120 frames per second video, and you want the magic focus. To note, you can get those with another app, but you want those natively without having to worry about replacing the camera app. You want knock code with a small catch. We'll talk about that later. You want more than 4 soft keys down here at the bottom. As you can see here, I have 5. There are advantages to having more than 4, mostly because I like my home button in the middle, but again, it's convenience and preference and how you use your phone. You want to retain most of your stock features minus the integrated wireless storage. There are App Store options for that, but what you're used to being integrated from LG is not going to work. And it's a very friendly form, and the developer, CloudyFA, he's very talented, he's responsive, and he's very active in his form. He's quick to let you know that he is working on it, because what you do notice on XDA is that if you haven't heard from a developer in a while, people start posting, is this ROM dead, you know, is this development dead? And it's not the case. These guys have lives too. They're doing this for free, they're probably working a full-time job, and you know, in some cases taking care of family too, and so those things obviously take preference over working on this for free for the community. So it does take them some time, and in this case, this ROM has been getting tested and the bugs worked out so that when it gets released, you're not inundated with things that you already know exist. So he is a very good developer. He doesn't drop it before he knows that it's ready, or if he does knows a few things, he tells you ahead of time. So we're going to go through settings here. Tethering and networks, I'm going to bring this up first because I want you to know that's where you'll find your SMS default location. Also, the Wi-Fi hotspot, maybe it's just my version, but it's not hacked to work. So I haven't tried using any other hacks yet, but just natively from the install it doesn't work for tethering. Let's go back here. Display is another place I'll show you. In displays where you'll find your front touch buttons, your button combination. This is actually a really cool way to edit your buttons. You just take what you want and drag it up there and place it wherever you want it, and it changes down here as you go. Very easy, very convenient. There's even a little animation down there for those that still can't get it. You know, because it's not what you would normally plus and move it over or whatnot. It's very easy, very intuitive. I like the way they've implemented this. Color, you've got the same color options you've had before. You have white, you have the granulate, the black granulate. To note, as you can see here on the home screen, it does go transparent. Going back, let's see, we want to talk about Smart Capture. This is kind of nice. You can change it so either it captures the full screen on a screen capture, or it just captures everything but the nav bar and the status bar. Again, very useful. It's there. It's a preference thing. Just nice to see that you can customize what you're going to capture without having to take and draw over it with the quick memo. Go back. Lock screen settings. You'll notice here you had the option for the swing lock screen, If you are using the NOT code, the swing lock screen does not work. And of course, you cannot change the wallpaper with the swing lock screen. It only comes with that one nighttime sky with the moon, the stars, and the ocean, and the balloons. That's just the way it is. And this is also where you can set your NOT code. Although when you install this ROM, it'll ask you to set up your NOT code. So it's already going to be set up. You don't usually need to come in here to set it up unless you want to change it. To note, unlike the G Pro 2, which you can do NOT code with the screen off, you can only do NOT code with the screen on. That has to do with the kernel. It is what it is. It's a very small thing to deal with. Doesn't bother me at all, but there are those who will complain about it and ask about it. And until somebody actually digs in to the G Pro 2's kernel and tries to figure out how to make it work with the LG G2, I don't know if anybody's really going to put that much time into it, but it's not impossible. We have some very talented devs and some very dedicated devs, and it might happen. Going back here, one of the things I do want to show you too is the one-handed operation. If you swing over here, that is your one-handed operation now. Before, when you would swing down, it would just move these keys over to the right. This is actually resizable. So depending, and this is actually, for it looking as gimmicky as it is, it's actually very useful. I forced myself to try it out and use it doing one-handed while I was walking. And if you resize it right, it's actually pretty useful. It's pretty convenient, and it's very easy to go back as I say that. There we go. Okay. We'll go down here, multitasking. Let's see. Split view, I was confused on this. I'm just going to explain to you. Split view will automatically, if you throw your, like say for instance I threw Chrome down here at the bottom one time while I was running both apps, it'll automatically do that for you every time you go to Chrome. Kind of annoying on my part. Again, it's all about preferences. So I disabled that. You might like it. I don't use slide aside, but it's there. I do use the dual window. I do like it, and it does work quite well. And there you go. Okay. Going through here, you're going to see these are. I need to talk about those. Exposed modules. You can get those. You just need to download the exposed preference injector if you are using exposed. And to note, you cannot use exposed in ART. Even though exposed has been updated and it works with the KitKat LG Optimus UI, it does not work with ART. ART is located down here in the dev options. As you can see, unlike the AT&T stock variant where you don't get this option, here it is right here on this ROM. You can change it to ART. I did not because I have to use exposed. I had to change my DPI, and yes, you can change your DPI without exposed, but you can't fix your camera without exposed because you need per app DPI or per app settings to change the DPI for the camera back to 480. Otherwise, you have this weird little blocking thing because the camera app does not scale. That being said, I did test ART, and when I get to that section, we'll discuss it. Last but not least, in this area anyways, talking about settings, one of the nice things I noticed here is you do not need to use G2 exposed to get rid of your sound and brightness. I did use it though to be able to bring it back and take it away. But if you slide over here to the very end where it says edit, there they are. All you got to do is uncheck them. And of course you know what to do here, just slide these around because again these quick toggles are actually very useful. Very useful. Next thing we're going to talk about is a pretty loaded review, and that's going to be on the camera. So let me just show you right quick. The first thing I'm going to show you is an example of the 120 frames per second recording capabilities on the phone with the camera. Here you go, just a small example. There it goes. Just falling objects. That's 120 frames per second, so slow motion. Alright. Next. This is a photograph taken in fluorescent lighting. The detail, this is just on normal. This is nothing custom. I'll show you the details here. That it's at ISO of 100. The total size of the picture is 2.73 megs, and it's 4160 by 2340. So it's just set on normal. This is me using the night mode, testing it out in the dark. Didn't do so well, but this is of course indoors, and I didn't really get a chance to test it outside in the dark. This is a close-up in fluorescent lighting in normal mode again. You can see the color details that are brought up here are very accurate, very true. It's a very good quality picture here. This is HDR mode. I don't really notice a whole lot of difference here. I do notice the red is redder. That is more red. It's probably more appropriate. And you can see the two tones here very nicely. And you can even see the pin there very nicely. So it does a very good job in HDR mode, although you guys zoom in to really tell the difference. Next, I got another 120 frame per second capture. This one is in widescreen here. You can see the water flowing real slowly. The fountain. And I will say, when you're recording, the camera is super fast. I mean, super fast, very smooth. Something I did notice when I was recording these videos in the 120 frames per second, even in 60 frames per second. Let me get it back lined up here. Okay. This is normal. Again, it's very fast. This is a photograph. This photograph was taken in normal, so nothing was changed. And again, this one was taken in HDR. And this was taken with the magic focus, so it's 150 ISO. It's a pretty good size image, but what magic focus is supposed to do is you're able to refocus the picture after you take it. As you can see here, I mean, it does a really good job. I mean, the details all throughout this picture, because the focus was over here initially. I mean, it looks really sharp. These are some outside pictures. This is, again, this is outside. This is at ISO 50. And it's significantly larger in size, but look at the color application here. It looks very nice. This camera app does a very good job. I'll show you one more of the outside. This should be the last picture I have to show. A little washed out over here, but the sun is coming from, as you can see from the shadows, it's coming from the side, so it's not behind us or in front of us. We still get a pretty good quality picture here. Even zooming in, you can see the yellows and the purples and the whites and the greens. It's a good picture, and that is brown back there. It hasn't started to change color yet. And that's the camera. The camera works very well. LTE is working great with this ROM. I had no problems at all with my LTE. Just fast, as you'd expect. It's just like normal. As far as free RAM goes, 0.91 gigs. That's about average. Now, you use the phone for a little while and you'll see it fluctuate. So it'll be, when you clear it out, it'll be 700 megs, maybe 0.86 megs. Still, that's right on par with what you're getting on stock. To note, on version 1.0, I did kind of see some lower than usual RAM numbers and speed numbers, but nothing that really affected your day-to-day use. Definitely those things are fixed with 1.1. One thing I did notice is the rear notification light. It does turn on initially when you receive a notification, but then it turns back off. It doesn't pulse. Not a big deal, but just letting you know it's there. Let's go on to screenshots of the battery life. Let me pull those up for you. You don't want to see what else I have on here. Let's see. Alright, so this is just the LTE right there. 31.84 megs, 17.1 up. This is just to show you that on this ROM, Google Play Music does take up the whole lock screen like on a KitKat ROM. I definitely like that a lot. Oh, you don't care about that. This is what I benched on version 1.0. 16,997, so definitely slower than the normal stock, but still very respectable numbers. Going through screen life here, we got 3 hours and 21 minutes of screen on time and 45% battery life left. It's pretty decent, so you can extrapolate from that you could probably reach 6 hours of screen on time. It's really good. It's going through 14 hours and 57 minutes, so 15 hours off the charger. Here we are at 17 hours 56 minutes off the charger, 34%, 3 hours and 25 minutes screen on time. Again, it also depends on what you're doing with the phone. This is showing you that I had 5 hours 50 minutes of keep awake time. This is showing what was keeping the phone awake. And I don't really see anything unusual here, aside from the LG keyboard. And this was with version 1.0. This is 1.1. No, I'm sorry. Yeah, this is 1.1. 16 hours, 53 minutes off the charger. 2 hours and 36 minutes of screen on time. Now, this was with a lot of gaming. Sega released Crazy Taxi for free, and I have been using it. So I was playing it, and I definitely drained the battery a lot. Here's a benchmark on 1.1. We're back up to 20,567. Very good number. Very good number. That's what you expect from the LG G2 on a stock-based ROM. This is showing you the temperatures I got after doing some benchmarks and gameplay. This is, I want to say, 15 minutes of Candy Crush and about 15 to 20 minutes of Crazy Taxi, and I'm at 62 degrees. I noticed the phone was getting hot, so I want to take a screenshot and see what's going on there. Quickly, the cores ramped down. The temperature dropped pretty fast. I mean, let's see if the time's on here. 9:06 a.m. I mean, this wasn't even a whole minute later, and we're already down to 53 degrees, and all the cores cooling down. So even though it gets warm, it cools off pretty quickly. This is me again playing games. 53 degrees. I mean, even when it feels warm, it's not that bad. I'm not quite sure what happened on this battery test. I had a big dip. I didn't perform a backup then, so I'm not sure exactly what happened with the battery stats there. But I'm showing you 2 hours 56 of screen on time, 27% battery life. Again, this is heavy gaming. 5 hours and 20 minutes keep awake time. And you'll see here nothing unusual. You got your highest wake clock detector here is the Google search, and it's only at 32. So that's not terrible at all. This is another screen capture. This is just the phone idling. It was sitting here receiving some email and texting, nothing really heavy, and 39 degrees. And that's what we have for your battery life. Battery life is very good. I really can't complain about the battery life on this ROM, and it's only getting better. To note, I don't want to judge too much on the battery life because I've been doing these testings for the dev and trying to help get the bugs worked out. I haven't really had enough time to let the ROM seat. It's part of the reason why I've delayed the review for as long as I have. Usually I'm trying to be very consistent, get 2 reviews in a week, and give everybody a chance to see what options are out there for the LG G2. But given that I was doing a lot of beta testing this ROM, I didn't get enough time to really let the battery set in, really let the ROM set in, and get really great battery life, because there are excellent battery numbers being posted up in the forums. You could probably expect 6 hours on average of use, depending on if you're doing heavy games. If you're doing heavy games, you'll probably get around 4 hours, 4.5 hours. Those are all very good numbers. GPS in my daily use of it, I did test it quite a few times. It never had a problem, just like stock. It locked on fast and it tracked well. I had no problems with the compass. I did see some people, but I don't think they were talking about the D800, that were having problems with their GPS with other Pro 2 based ROMs. One thing you're going to see here, and let me go ahead and tell you, themes are supported here. And I did test some themes until I realized that somebody had finally come out with the transparent stock weather widget that works with KitKat. And as soon as I discovered that, I dropped the themes like a bad habit. I downloaded it, and I'll just tell you that I'll go ahead and give you the link to the file. And the instructions are pretty simple. Use a root explorer, go to System App, copy the original LG weather theme.apk, back it up somewhere. You'll paste the new one, the one you downloaded, over it, and then give it RWRR permissions like everything else in the folder. Reboot the phone, and you are done. Make sure you reboot the phone when you get done doing it after you've saved it, because when you come back here, it's going to ask to download something or another. Don't mess with it, just reboot the phone, and it'll come up just like this. If you're using a wallpaper like mine that has some nature in it, it's pretty cool because, I'll show you, it just blends right in. It just blends right in with the wallpaper. I love it. but I guess I'm a dork. Anyways, continuing on so I don't make this too long. DPI, this is currently at 380 DPI. Again, I used Texture to change the DPI, and I used per app settings to change the camera back to 480. One unusual thing though is usually with Textroider you can reboot the phone to get done changing the DPI. For some reason Textroider did not want to reboot the phone. Not 100% certain on why that is, but it didn't. Xposed has no problem doing it though. So, and it still saves the changes, you just got to reboot the phone manually. Not a big deal. Just a little something I mentioned real quick. If you want to be able to boot to recovery from your native power menu, then you will need to get advanced power menu from Xposed. Let me go ahead and pull Xposed over here and show you what modules we have here. Advanced power module, so you have your reboot to recovery directly natively in your power menu settings. App settings, of course, I've discussed already. G2 Xposed, I use that to change my icons up here. To note, G2 Xposed, it's not supposed to support KitKat yet, but it does work. Some things work anyways. If you want to resize your navigation bar, you're going to need to use Gravity Box KitKat. If you want to keep these icons away after reboot, you have to reopen Xposed, G2 Xposed, because the icons will come back. And you just got to check them and uncheck them, they go away again. Not a big deal. Root cloak, you know what that's for, and the Xposed preference injector I've already discussed is so you get these in your settings. You don't always have to go open Xposed. They're right there. Easy, easy. Alright, A2DP, it works great. Just like every other LG, or most other LG Optimus UI ROMs, especially KitKat, it works fast. It works well. It works perfectly with my 4Touch. You get your text messages to go through the system. You get your metadata, no problem. Kia Uvo, again, you get your metadata, no problem. You don't get text messages through Kia Uvo, but I'm kind of getting used to that, and then, you know, it doesn't bother me. I don't think there's ever going to be a ROM that's going to work with Kia Uvo and have text messaging. But I tell you what, should somebody figure out a way to make it happen, I'll probably stop flashing ROMs. As hard as that is to believe, but I would definitely have a new preference, and I don't have a preference at this point. FM radio, even though it's here, it doesn't work. I'm not sure if AT&T has blocked it or what, but it's been fixed for other variants where the FM radio actually works. It does not work on the D800. It will pull up. You can plug in your headphones. You can swing that dial all you want. It's not going to do a thing. You're not going to hear anything anyways come through there. To note, on 1.1, I did have to manually set up my MMS settings through GoSMS to get them to work. Not a big deal. Didn't take very much time at all. Very easy to do. But 1.0, I did not have to do that. So maybe something happened during the flash. I'm not really sure, but just thought I'd mention it for those of you who may encounter MMS problems, so there's a fix. Let's go ahead and try and wrap this up. I'm going to reboot the phone and test it and see how long it takes for it to go from completely powered off to usable. Let me get a timer going over here. I don't know if that's really going to show up on the bill. There it goes. Okay. So once this completely shuts off, I'm going to turn it. I'm going to try and be able to turn this on and hit start. Let's see how that goes. Okay. And start. While that's going, let's talk. Let's talk about the forum. The forum, I'm going to have it linked below. The XDA forum is going to be linked below the description. It's a very friendly forum. Just like most LG Optimus UI fans, they're a little bit less quick to bite your head off. However, let's see, and don't worry about this. I think this has to do with this being a beta, so I'm not going to report on it. Anyways, you get roughly 27 seconds. You could say 30 seconds. So not the fastest boot time, but this ROM wasn't meant for this phone, so you really can't complain. It's still pretty fast from power off to usability. All right. I was talking about the forum before I wrap this up. There's only 70 pages at the point of me doing this video. 695 posts. The last post, of course, being for me at the time of doing this video. Follow the OP. Okay. Search the forum first. If you're going to install this ROM, I did an install video. You can go there for instructions. I discuss a lot. Don't ask about twerp. Don't ask about the KitKat baseband, because it's already been answered a million times before. If you prefer twerp, that's fine. Use fills. Install flash fills, use fills recovery, the latest one. Get the ROM going. Go back to recovery, and it fills, flash your twerp, and you're done. Do your backups in twerp. Do all your restores, whatever, if you want to get off of it in twerp. But you can get your twerp back. Something else. If you go from one of these LG Optimus UI KitKat based ROMs that has a working recovery, you're going to have to flash the Jelly Bean baseband before you go to flash another AOSP ROM or a Jelly Bean based Optimus UI ROM. Okay? Very important. Otherwise, you'll be one of the many people, if you don't search, who will post about and ask about why your auto rotation has stopped working, and a few other small bugs, but auto rotation is the biggest one that you see people asking about. That is why. Flash Jelly Bean baseband. I'm going to look for the links, and I'm going to try and post those down below as well. Thank you again for your time. Hopefully you found this video useful. If you did, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions and anything I didn't cover in the video, ask away. I do keep my backups saved so I can quickly go back to this ROM to be able to answer any questions if I don't have them offhand. To note, I had been using this ROM for the longest stints for over a week, and I've had plenty of experience with it, so hopefully whatever questions you have, I can answer them quickly. Have a great day, and until the next video, see you then.